The courtroom in downtown Boston fell silent as Judge Harold Mitchell wheeled himself behind the bench, his steel-gray eyes scanning the packed gallery with barely concealed contempt. 3 years in that wheelchair hadn't softened his reputation as the harshest judge in Massachusetts. If anything, the accident that took his legs had sharpened his cruelty. "Bring in the defendant," he barked, adjusting his black robes with practiced precision. The heavy oak doors swung open, and Daniel Cooper was escorted in, his $1,000 suit wrinkled from a night in holding. The charges were serious: embezzlement, fraud, conspiracy. The media had dubbed it the trial of the decade. Daniel's empire, built over 20 years, was crumbling. His lawyers flanked him, but their faces betrayed their pessimism. Judge Mitchell had never shown mercy to white-collar criminals, especially wealthy ones who thought money could buy justice. "Mr. Cooper," the judge's voice dripped with disdain, "you stand accused of stealing millions from pension funds. Elderly people, veterans, teachers, all victims of your greed." Daniel stood, his jaw clenched. "Your Honor, I maintain my innocence. These charges are—" "Save it for the jury," Mitchell interrupted, "though I doubt they'll be any more impressed than I am. Bail is revoked. You'll await trial in custody." The gavel was already rising when the courtroom doors burst open. A small girl, no more than 7, ran down the aisle, her worn sneakers squeaking against the polished floor. Her dark hair was tangled, her second-hand dress torn at the hem. Security guards moved to intercept her, but she was quick, dodging between the benches. "Stop!" she screamed, her voice piercing the formal atmosphere. "You can't take my daddy!" The room erupted in confused murmurs. Daniel's face went white, his mouth opening in shock. He'd never seen this child before in his life. Judge Mitchell's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Remove this child immediately," he ordered. But Emma planted herself in front of the bench, tears streaming down her face. "Please, Mr. Judge," she said, her small voice trembling but determined. "Let my daddy go, and I'll make you walk again." The silence that followed was deafening. Someone in the gallery laughed nervously. The bailiff reached for Emma, but she stepped back, her green eyes so much like Daniel's, blazing with desperate determination. "I mean it," she said, louder now. "My mommy told me before she died. She said I had a gift. She said when the time was right, I'd know what to do." Judge Mitchell's face flushed with rage. "This is a courtroom, not a circus. Bailiff, remove—" He stopped mid-sentence. His hand, gripping the armrest of his wheelchair, trembled. The pencil he'd been holding clattered to the floor. "Your Honor?" the court clerk asked, concerned. Mitchell's eyes were wide, staring at his legs. His right foot, the foot that hadn't moved in 3 years, twitched. The entire courtroom saw it. The twitch became a movement. His toes flexed inside his dress shoes. A woman in the gallery gasped. The court reporter's fingers froze over her keys. Daniel staggered backward, his lawyers catching him as his knees buckled. "What did you do?" Mitchell whispered, his voice hoarse. Emma wiped her tears with the back of her hand. "Nothing yet," she said simply, "but I can do more. Let my daddy go, and I'll show you." The judge's left foot moved. He gripped the arms of his wheelchair so tightly his knuckles went white. The prosecution attorney stood, his face pale. "Your Honor, perhaps we should recess—" "No!" Mitchell's voice cracked. He was staring at Emma as if she was something otherworldly. "How is this possible?" Emma stepped closer to the bench. "My mommy said sometimes people are broken in ways doctors can't see. She said the body remembers how to heal if someone shows it the way." She reached out her small hand toward the judge. "But first, you have to let my daddy go. He didn't know about me. Mommy never told him. But I need him now. I don't have anyone else." The courtroom held its breath. Daniel found his voice. "Your Honor, I don't know this child." "This must be some mistake." "No mistake," Emma said firmly, turning to look at Daniel for the first time. "Sarah Walsh was my mommy. She died 6 months ago. Cancer. She told me about you before she died, told me to find you if anything happened to her. The revelation hit the courtroom like thunder. Daniel Cooper stared at the girl claiming to be his daughter, his mind racing through memories of 8 years ago. Sarah Walsh. The name hit him like a physical blow, the brief relationship during his business trip to Providence. 3 months of something that might have been love if he hadn't been so focused on building his empire. She disappeared without explanation, without goodbye. Now he understood why. Sarah's dead? His voice came out strangled. Emma nodded, her chin trembling. She got sick last year. The doctors tried everything. Before she died, she gave me your picture. Said if I ever needed help, I should find Daniel Cooper in Boston. Judge Mitchell remained frozen in his wheelchair, his feet still showing signs of movement that shouldn't be possible. The neurologists had been definitive: complete spinal cord injury, T6 vertebra, no possibility of recovery, yet his toes were moving. This is highly irregular, the lead prosecutor, James Whitman, finally managed. Your Honor, we need to— Quiet! Mitchell snapped. His hands were shaking as he looked down at his legs. Someone call Dr. Rodriguez from Mass General. Now! The bailiff reached for his phone, but Emma stepped forward again. You don't need a doctor, she said quietly. You need to believe. Mommy said your injury isn't what everyone thinks. She could see things, understand things. She passed it to me. The judge's breathing was labored. That's impossible. The MRI showed damage, Emma interrupted, wise beyond her 7 years. But Mommy said sometimes the body creates its own prison. Fear becomes paralysis, guilt becomes pain. You've been punishing yourself for something. I can feel it. The courtroom was mesmerized. Daniel took a tentative step forward. Your Honor, I need a DNA test. If this child is mine, she's yours, Emma said simply. Mommy kept everything, letters you wrote, the watch you gave her. It's all in our apartment. Was in our apartment. The landlord took it when we couldn't pay after Mommy died. Where have you been living? Daniel's voice was urgent now. Here and there, Emma said, looking at her feet. The shelter sometimes. Mrs. Chen at the grocery store lets me sleep in the back room when it's cold. Rage flashed across Daniel's face. The state didn't— I hid, Emma admitted. Mummy said foster care would separate me from finding you. She made me promise to find you first. Judge Mitchell's left leg suddenly spasmed. The entire courtroom gasped as his knee bent slightly. He looked at Emma with something approaching terror. What are you? Emma's eyes filled with tears again. I'm just a little girl who needs her daddy, and you're just a man who needs to remember how to forgive himself. Mommy said you were in a car accident 3 years ago, but that's not the whole truth, is it? The judge's face went ashen. Nobody knew the full details of his accident. The record showed a single car collision on a rainy night. But Emma continued, her voice gentle. There was someone else in the car. Someone you loved. Someone you couldn't save. Mitchell's secretary, Martha, stood up in the gallery, her hand over her mouth. She'd been there that night. She knew. The judge's wife had been driving. She'd had a seizure, her first and last. Harold had grabbed the wheel, but it was too late. She died on impact. He survived paralyzed, carrying guilt that no therapy could touch. How could you know that? Mitchell whispered. Mommy knew things, Emma said. She said healing starts with truth. You've been in that chair not because your spine won't work, but because you won't forgive yourself for surviving. The judge's legs moved again, more deliberately this time. His feet flat on the footrests, muscles tensing. The prosecutor stepped back, his face pale. Your Honor, this is— Shut up, Whitman, Mitchell said, his voice raw. He was looking at Emma with new eyes. What does your gift cost, child? Emma smiled sadly, too knowing for her age. Everything has a price. Mommy paid hers. She could have saved herself, but she saved others instead. That's why she got sick. She took too much darkness from too many people. Daniel moved toward Emma, his lawyers trying to hold him back. If she's my daughter, DNA test will confirm it, Emma said. But you already know, don't you? You can feel it, just like the judge can feel his legs. Truth doesn't need proof, it just needs acceptance. Judge Mitchell's right hand moved to his leg, pressing against his thigh. His eyes widened. I can feel that. I can actually feel my hand on my leg. The courtroom erupted. The media present were frantically typing, cameras from the court artists sketching furiously. This was beyond any trial they'd covered. Dr. Patricia Rodriguez arrived within the hour, her medical team flooding the courtroom with equipment. The proceedings had been officially suspended, but nobody left. The gallery was packed, everyone waiting to see if the impossible was truly happening. Judge Mitchell remained in his wheelchair as Dr. Rodriguez conducted her preliminary examination, her face cycling through disbelief, confusion, and wonder. "Harold," she said quietly, "your reflexes are responding. That shouldn't be possible. The damage to your spine—" "Check again," Mitchell said, his eyes never leaving Emma. The little girl sat beside Daniel now, her small hand in his large one. The DNA test had been rush-ordered, but looking at them side by side, the resemblance was undeniable. Same green eyes, same stubborn chin, same way of tilting their heads when thinking. "Tell me about Sarah," Daniel said softly. Emma's face lit up despite her tears. "She was the best mommy. She worked at the hospital, in the children's ward. That's where she discovered her gift. She could touch sick kids and know things. Sometimes she could help them when doctors couldn't. Why didn't she tell me about you?" Daniel's voice carried 8 years of missed opportunities. "She said you had important work. She saw your future, all the people you'd help, all the companies you'd build. She said if you knew about me, you'd give it all up, and the world needed what you were creating." Emma paused. "But she was wrong, wasn't she? Because now you're in trouble anyway." The prosecutor, Whitman, had been on his phone, frantically researching. "Your Honor," he interrupted, "I've found records of Sarah Walsh. She was a pediatric nurse at Rhode Island Hospital. She was remarkable. Dozens of families credit her with miraculous recoveries. The medical board investigated her 3 times, but could never explain her success rate." Judge Mitchell was sweating as Dr. Rodriguez continued her tests. His legs had been moving more frequently, each movement stronger than the last. "The nerves are firing," Dr. Rodriguez announced, incredulous. "It's as if the pathways are reconnecting. But Harold, this is medically impossible. Severed nerves don't just—" "They weren't severed," Emma said quietly. Everyone turned to her. "Your body shut down to protect you from the pain. Not the physical pain, the emotional pain. Every step would have reminded you that she couldn't take any. So you stopped walking." Mitchell's face crumbled. For the first time in 3 years, the harsh judge looked human, vulnerable, broken. "Margaret," he whispered, his wife's name. "I should have driven that night. I should have insisted." "She wouldn't have let you," Emma said gently. "I can see her, sort of. She's been waiting for you to forgive yourself. She says she doesn't blame you. She says—" Emma paused, tilting her head as if listening. "She says stop being so stubborn and get out of that chair. She has plans for you, and they don't involve wheels." A sob escaped Mitchell's throat. The courtroom watched in stunned silence as the toughest judge in Massachusetts broke down completely. Daniel tightened his grip on Emma's hand. "How long have you been able to do this?" "Since Mommy got sick," Emma replied. "She said when one gift leaves, it finds a new home. She chose me to carry it forward, but it hurts sometimes. When I help someone, I feel what they feel. All of it." "That's too much for a child," Daniel said, his paternal instinct suddenly fierce. "You shouldn't have to." "Someone has to," Emma said simply. "There's so much pain in the world. Mommy said we can't heal it all, but we can heal what's in front of us. That's why I'm here. The judge isn't the only one who needs healing." She looked directly at Daniel. "You've been running from something too. That's why they could frame you. You were distracted, careless. You stopped protecting yourself because you didn't think you deserved protection. Whitman stepped forward. Your Honor, regardless of whatever this is, we have a trial to conduct. Mr. Cooper is accused of serious crimes. Crimes he didn't commit, Emma said firmly. But you know that, don't you, Mr. Prosecutor? You know who really took that money. You've known all along. The courtroom went deadly silent. Whitman's face flushed red. That's a serious accusation, child. It's not an accusation, Emma said. It's truth. You're scared. Someone threatened your family. Your daughter, she's sick, isn't she? Leukemia. And they promised to pay for her treatment if you made sure Daniel Cooper went to prison. Whitman staggered backward. How could you possibly— The same way I know Judge Mitchell can walk, Emma said. The same way I know my daddy was framed. Truth leaves marks on people. Lies do too. You're covered in both, Mr. Whitman. The revelation about Prosecutor Whitman sent shockwaves through the courtroom. Security moved to block the exits as Whitman's face crumbled, his carefully constructed facade shattering. They said they'd kill her, he whispered, sinking into a chair. My little Ashley, she's only 9. The treatments cost everything we had, and then more. When they approached me, I said no. Then Ashley relapsed, and the insurance denied the experimental treatment. $800,000. Where was I supposed to get that? Judge Mitchell, still in his wheelchair but with increasingly mobile legs, leaned forward. Who, James? Who's behind this? Hind. Vincent Carlyle, Whitman breathed, the name falling like a stone into still water. Daniel's face went dark. Vincent Carlyle, his former business partner, the man he'd trusted before discovering embezzlement 5 years ago. Daniel had chosen not to prosecute, wanting to avoid scandal, mercy that now seemed foolish. Carlyle's been planning this for years, Whitman continued, tears streaming down his face. He has the real books, the actual evidence of his own crimes. He doctored them to implicate Daniel. I have copies hidden. I kept them in case I needed insurance. Emma stood up, walking slowly toward Whitman. Your daughter doesn't know, does she? She thinks her daddy's a hero. You are a hero to her, but heroes sometimes make mistakes when they're scared. She reached out and touched Whitman's hand. Ashley's going to be okay. I can feel it. The treatment's working. But the lie is killing you faster than the cancer is killing her. Doctor. Rodriguez interrupted, her voice shaking. Judge Mitchell, you need to see this. She was holding her tablet, showing real-time scans from the portable MRI they'd brought. Your spinal cord. There's no damage. There's never been damage. The original scans from 3 years ago. I'm comparing them. Someone altered them. Mitchell's world tilted. That's impossible. Dr. Morrison confirmed. Dr. Morrison died 2 years ago, Rodriguez said grimly. Suicide, they said. But now I'm wondering. Harold, you've been the victim of an elaborate deception. Someone wanted you in that chair. Someone wanted you broken, angry, controllable. Emma nodded sadly. The same someone who threatened Mr. Whitman's daughter. The same someone who framed my daddy. Mr. Carlyle didn't just want revenge. He wanted to own the justice system. A broken judge, a desperate prosecutor, and an innocent man in prison. All the pieces for controlling Boston's legal system. The courtroom doors burst open. Federal agents flooded in, led by Special Agent Monica Rivers. Nobody move, she commanded. This courtroom is now under federal jurisdiction. We've been monitoring Vincent Carlyle for 18 months. We knew he had people inside the system, but we couldn't identify who. She looked at Emma with something approaching awe. We didn't expect our break to come from a 7-year-old girl. Daniel stood protectively in front of Emma. She's been through enough. Relax, Mr. Cooper. We're here to help. Whitman, you're going to tell us everything. In exchange, we'll ensure your daughter's treatment continues and you'll receive witness protection. Judge Mitchell suddenly gripped the arms of his wheelchair. "I want to try," he said, his voice rough. "If it's all been a lie, if I can, actually." Dr. Rodriguez moved to stop him, but Emma raised her hand. "Let him," she said softly. "He needs to do this himself. The healing isn't just in the legs, it's in the choosing to stand." Deal. The courtroom held its collective breath as Judge Harold Mitchell, after 3 years in a wheelchair, slowly pushed himself up. His legs trembled, muscles weak from disuse but responding. He took one shuffling step, then another. Martha, his secretary, rushed forward to steady him, tears streaming down her face. "Walking," she breathed. "Harold, you're actually walking." He took another step, stronger this time. "Carlyle," he said, his voice gaining strength with each word. "He had someone at the hospital the night of the accident. They did something to me, injections, drugs. I remember being confused, unable to move, but I thought it was from the trauma." Agent Rivers was taking notes rapidly. "We'll need full medical workups, testimony, everything. Carlyle's network is more extensive than we imagined." Emma swayed suddenly, her face pale. Daniel caught her, lifting her into his arms. "What's wrong?" "Tired," she mumbled against his shoulder. "Helping hurts. Mommy said it would. Taking people's pain, even a little bit, it stays with you for a while. We're getting you checked by doctors," Daniel said firmly. "No arguments." Emma smiled weakly. "Okay, Daddy." The word hit Daniel like a lightning bolt. Daddy. 8 years of missed birthdays, first words, first steps. 8 years of Sarah raising their daughter alone, gifted with a burden no child should carry. 3 hours later, the courtroom had transformed into a makeshift command center. FBI agents interviewed witnesses while medical staff attended to both Judge Mitchell and Emma. The girl lay on a temporary cot, an IV dripping fluids into her small arm, her face peaceful but exhausted. Daniel hadn't left her side. The DNA results had come back. 97% match. She was his daughter, this remarkable child who'd walked into a courtroom and unraveled a conspiracy with nothing but truth and an impossible gift. Agent Rivers approached with a tablet. "Mr. Cooper, we've been to the address Emma gave us, Sarah Walsh's apartment. The landlord had indeed seized everything, but we've recovered it all. There are letters, photographs, medical records documenting Emma's abilities." "What kind of documentation?" Daniel asked, his hand gently stroking Emma's hair. "Testimonials from families at the hospital. Sarah kept detailed records every time Emma helped someone. Started when Emma was 5. A boy with unexplained paralysis. Emma touched him and he walked. A girl in a coma. Emma held her hand and she woke up. Dozens of cases." Sarah was trying to understand it, maybe find scientific explanation. Dr. Rodriguez joined them, her expression troubled. "I've examined Emma thoroughly. Physically, she's malnourished but otherwise healthy. But Daniel, there's something unusual. Her brain scans show activity in regions we typically see dormant. It's as if she's using parts of her brain that most humans can't access." "Is she in danger?" Daniel's voice was sharp with concern. "I don't know," Rodriguez admitted. "Sarah's medical files suggest she experienced severe fatigue after helping patients. Eventually, her immune system weakened. The cancer that killed her. It was aggressive, unusual, as if her body had exhausted its ability to fight." Daniel's jaw clenched. "Then Emma stops. No more healing, no more helping. I won't lose her." Emma's eyes fluttered open. "You can't stop it, Daddy," she said weakly. "It's like asking someone not to breathe. When I see pain, I have to help. Mommy tried to stop too, but it made her sicker. The gift demands to be used." Across the room, Judge Mitchell was taking tentative steps with a walker, his recovery stunning the medical team. Each step seemed to restore not just his mobility, but his humanity. The harsh judge who'd terrorized defendants for years was gone, replaced by a man humbled by deception and grateful for truth. Prosecutor Whitman sat with federal agents providing detailed testimony about Carlisle's network. His phone buzzed. A text from his wife. Ashley's latest test results showed remarkable improvement. The experimental treatment was working. He broke down sobbing, the relief overwhelming. Agent Rivers returned with urgent news. "We've located Carlisle. He's at his estate in Marblehead. But he's not alone. He has at least a dozen men with him. And Daniel, he's destroyed most of the evidence. What Whitman hidden might be all we have." "It's enough," Judge Mitchell said, his voice stronger. "With Whitman's testimony and my own experience, we can establish pattern of conspiracy. But we need Carlisle alive to fully unravel this network." Emma sat up suddenly, her face alert despite her exhaustion. "He's coming here," she said. "Mr. Carlisle. He knows everything's falling apart. He wants to finish what he started." Agent Rivers' radio crackled. Perimeter breach at the courthouse. Multiple vehicles approaching. Tactical teams responding. Daniel lifted Emma, moving towards safer interior rooms. "How did you know?" Emma looked at him with those wise green eyes, the same way I knew everything else. "Some people broadcast their intentions like radio waves. Mr. Carlisle is very loud. He's angry, desperate. He's going to try to silence everyone who knows the truth." The lights in the courthouse suddenly went out. Emergency lighting kicked in, casting everything in an eerie red glow. Gunfire erupted from the lobby. Agent Rivers drew her weapon. "Everyone down! Secure positions!" Judge Mitchell, despite his newly recovered mobility, moved with surprising agility behind the judge's bench. "There's a panic room," he called out, "behind my chambers. Margaret insisted on it after receiving death threats." They moved quickly, Daniel carrying Emma, Whitman supporting Judge Mitchell, agents covering their retreat. The sound of combat grew closer. Carlisle's men were well-trained, well-armed, and desperate. The panic room was small but secure, reinforced steel walls and an independent ventilation system. As the heavy door sealed behind them, Emma whispered, "This isn't how it ends. Mr. Carlisle needs to hear the truth too. Everyone deserves a chance to choose differently." "He's a monster," Whitman said bitterly. "He threatened my child." "He's a broken person who broke others," Emma replied. "But even broken things can be mended, if they want to be." Outside, the gunfire intensified. They could hear Agent Rivers coordinating the defense over radio. Then, suddenly, silence. A voice echoed through the courthouse PA system. Vincent Carlisle's voice, smooth and cold. "Daniel, old friend," Carlisle's voice resonated through the courthouse speakers. "I know you're listening. You took everything from me 5 years ago. My reputation, my business, my family. They all chose you over me. Now I'm returning the favor." Emma tugged on Daniel's sleeve. "He's lying to himself," she whispered. "You didn't take anything. He lost it all by stealing, and he knows it. The guilt is eating him alive." In the panic room, Agent Rivers checked her ammunition while coordinating with backup teams via secured radio. "SWAT is 3 minutes out," she reported. "We just need to hold." Judge Mitchell tested his legs, still unsteady but growing stronger. "I sentenced Carlisle's son 2 years ago," he said quietly. "Marcus Carlisle, armed robbery. The boy was desperate, trying to pay for his mother's medical bills after Vincent abandoned them. I gave him the maximum sentence, 20 years. The pieces clicked together in Daniel's mind. This was never just about me. "No," Mitchell agreed. "He orchestrated my accident after I sentenced his son, made me suffer as he believed I'd made Marcus suffer. Then he came after you, the man he blamed for his downfall. Whitman was just collateral damage, a tool to be used." Emma suddenly stood, swaying slightly. "I need to talk to him." "Absolutely not," Daniel said immediately. "Emma, he's dangerous. He's in pain," Emma insisted. "So much pain that he's spreading it to everyone else. But pain can be healed. Mommy taught me that. Even the worst pain." The PA crackled again. "I have the building surrounded, Daniel. Come out with the judge and the prosecutor. Face justice for your crimes. Oh, and bring the little girl. I'm curious about Sarah Walsh's daughter. Sarah, who could have saved my wife but chose to help strangers instead. Daniel's blood ran cold, another piece of the puzzle. Your wife was a patient at Rhode Island Hospital, Emma said, her voice certain. Mommy tried to help her, but she refused treatment. She said she didn't deserve to be saved. She knew what you were. The guilt was killing her faster than the disease. Rage exploded through the PA system. Lies! Sarah Walsh let her die. She had a gift and she wasted it on worthless people while my Catherine suffered. Open the door, Emma said firmly. No. Daniel grabbed her arm. Emma, I just found you. I can't lose you. Emma looked up at him with Sarah's determination. You won't, but if we stay hiding, people will die. Mr. Carlyle's men don't all want to be here. Some are just scared, like Mr. Whitman was. They need a way out. I can give them that. Judge Mitchell struggled to his feet. If she goes, I go with her. This is my fault too. My harsh sentences, my lack of mercy. I created part of this monster. We all did, Whitman added, standing, by choosing fear over truth, by letting ourselves be manipulated. The child is right. Hiding won't end this. Agent Rivers looked at them like they were insane. You want to walk out to an armed terrorist? I want to walk out to a broken father who lost his way, Emma corrected. There's a difference. Before anyone could stop her, Emma pressed the emergency release. The panic room door hissed open. She walked out into the corridor, her small form illuminated by emergency lighting. Daniel rushed after her, followed by the others. Mr. Carlyle, Emma called out, her voice carrying through the courthouse. I'm Emma Walsh. You wanted to meet me. I'm here. Footsteps echoed from the main courtroom. Vincent Carlyle appeared, flanked by armed men. He was smaller than Daniel remembered, grayer, worn down by years of anger. His eyes fixed on Emma with disturbing intensity. Sarah's daughter, he said. You look like her, same cursed eyes that see too much. She tried to save your wife, Emma said simply, but your wife chose to die. She couldn't live with what you'd become, the blood money, the threats, the violence. She said dying clean was better than living dirty. Carlyle's gun hand trembled. Shut up! Your son Marcus doesn't hate you, Emma continued, stepping closer despite Daniel's desperate attempt to pull her back. He writes letters you never read. He forgives you. He understands you were sick with greed, just like his mom was sick with cancer. I said shut up! Carlyle raised his gun, pointing it at Emma. His men shifted uncomfortably. Killing armed agents was one thing, but a child. Emma didn't flinch. You can shoot me, but it won't stop the pain. Only forgiveness does that. Forgive yourself, Mr. Carlyle. Your wife already has. Your son already has. Even my daddy forgives you, don't you, Daddy? Daniel's throat was tight with terror, but he saw what Emma was doing. Yes, he said hoarsely. Vincent, I forgive you. For everything. Carlyle's composure shattered completely. The gun shook violently in his grip. You don't get to forgive me. You ruined everything. No, Judge Mitchell said, stepping forward on unsteady legs. We all ruined ourselves. Me with my harshness, you with your greed, Daniel with his ambition, Whitman with his fear. But this child is offering us something better, a chance to choose differently. The gun in Vincent Carlyle's hand wavered as tears streamed down his weathered face. His men exchanged uncertain glances, their weapons lowering slightly. The sight of their powerful boss breaking down before a 7-year-old girl shattered their resolve. She wouldn't let me say goodbye, Carlyle whispered, his voice cracking. Catherine died while I was in a meeting about destroying you, Daniel. I chose revenge over my dying wife's last moments. Emma took another step forward, her small hand extended. She waited for you. I can feel it. She waited until she knew you were too far away to make it back. She didn't want you to see her that way. It was her last gift to you, protecting you from that memory. The gun clattered to the marble floor. Carlyle fell to his knees, sobbing. His men stood frozen, unsure whether to maintain their positions or surrender. One by one, they began lowering their weapons. "Stand down!" Carlyle choked out to his men. "It's over! It's all over!" SWAT teams flooded the building, but Agent Rivers held them back with a raised hand. The scene before them needed no violent resolution. Emma knelt beside Carlyle, her tiny hand on his shoulder. "Your son needs his father," she said softly. "Not the criminal you became, but the man you used to be. The one who taught him to ride a bike, who read him bedtime stories. That man is still in there." Judge Mitchell, leaning heavily on his walker, approached slowly. "Vincent, I'm prepared to testify about the mitigating circumstances. Your son Marcus, I was wrong to give him maximum sentence. He was a young man trying to save his mother. I let my own pain cloud my judgment." Whitman stepped forward too. "I'll testify about the coercion, the threats. We were all victims of our own choices, but also of circumstances beyond our control." Daniel helped Emma to her feet. She was pale, swaying slightly. "Daddy, I need to rest now," she whispered. Helping Mr. Carlyle took a lot. He had so much darkness. As Daniel lifted her into his arms, Agent Rivers coordinated the arrests. Carlyle went quietly, looking older and more fragile than the monster he'd tried to be. His men surrendered without resistance, many looking relieved it was over. Dr. Rodriguez rushed to examine Emma, her concern evident. "Her vitals are weak. We need to get her to the hospital immediately." The ambulance ride blurred together. Daniel held Emma's hand as paramedics worked, her skin cold and clammy. "Stay with me, baby girl," he whispered. "I just found you. 8 years to make up for. Please, stay with me." Emma's eyes fluttered open briefly. "Mommy says hi," she murmured. "She says she's proud of you. You're going to be a good daddy, different from before. The money won't matter anymore." At Massachusetts General Hospital, Emma was whisked into intensive care. Daniel paced the waiting room, his mind racing through everything that had happened in just one day. He'd started the morning as an accused criminal facing life in prison. Now he was a father, watching his gifted daughter fight exhaustion from healing others. Judge Mitchell arrived in a wheelchair, voluntary this time, his legs still weak. "How is she?" "They don't know," Daniel said hollowly. "Her body is shutting down from exhaustion. They said it's like she ran 100 marathons. Every organ is stressed." "She saved us all," Mitchell said quietly. "That little girl walked into my courtroom and undid years of conspiracy with nothing but truth and compassion." Martha, Mitchell's secretary, appeared with coffee and sandwiches. "The media is going crazy outside. The story's gone national. Miracle girl heals paralyzed judge, exposes corruption. They want statements." "They can wait," Daniel said firmly. "Emma comes first." Hours passed. Whitman arrived with his wife and daughter Ashley, who was in a wheelchair but smiling. "I wanted to thank her," Ashley said shyly. "The girl who helped my daddy tell the truth." Dr. Rodriguez emerged from the ICU, her expression guarded. "She's stable but weak. Daniel, she's asking for you. But I need to warn you, she's talking about things she couldn't possibly know. Medical histories of other patients, future events. It's as if the healing process has temporarily amplified her abilities." Daniel entered the ICU to find Emma propped up in bed, looking impossibly small among the machines and tubes. Her eyes were bright, despite her exhaustion. "Hi, Daddy," she said weakly. "Don't look so scared. I'm going to be okay. Mommy promised." "How do you know that?" Daniel asked, taking her small hand in both of his. "I see things more clearly when I'm tired," Emma explained. "Like the walls between past and future get thin. I can see you teaching me to ride a bike next spring. I can see Judge Mitchell dancing at his daughter's wedding. She's coming back from Europe, you know. They'll reconcile." "His daughter hasn't spoken to him in 3 years, Daniel said, confused. Emma smiled. "She will, tomorrow." She's been watching the news. She sees her daddy walking again, but more importantly, she sees him crying. She never saw him cry before, not even when Mommy died. The next morning brought chaos to Massachusetts General. Media vans surrounded the building, reporters desperate for a glimpse of the miracle girl of Boston. But inside Emma's room, there was only quiet recovery and unexpected visitors. Marcus Carlyle stood in the doorway, escorted by federal marshals. Judge Mitchell had arranged a compassionate visit from the state prison. The young man looked nothing like his father, tall, gentle-eyed, with his mother's kind face. "You helped my dad," Marcus said to Emma, his voice thick with emotion. "The agents told me he confessed everything. He's finally taking responsibility. I've waited 5 years for that." Emma studied him with those penetrating green eyes. "You never stopped loving him, even when he abandoned you and your mom. That's why he couldn't fully become the monster he tried to be. Your love was like a chain holding him to his humanity." Marcus approached the bed slowly. "The judge says he's going to recommend sentence reduction for me, early release with time served. But that's not why I'm here. I wanted to thank you and to warn you." Daniel tensed. "Warn her about what?" "My father wasn't working alone," Marcus said. "There are others, powerful people who profited from the system he built. They won't be happy it's falling apart. Agent Rivers knows, but I wanted you to hear it from me. Your daughter isn't safe." Before Daniel could respond, Emma spoke. "Mr. Richardson from the State Senate. Mrs. Chen from the Banking Commission. Not the nice Mrs. Chen from the grocery store, a different one. Dr. Morrison's assistant who made the fake medical files. They're all scared now, but fear makes people dangerous." Agent Rivers appeared in the doorway, having heard everything. "We're already moving on those names. Emma, how did you—" "When I touched Mr. Carlyle, I saw his memories," Emma said simply. "All the people he paid, all the secrets he kept. It hurt to see so much darkness, but now you can stop them, Dr. Rodriguez entered with test results, her face troubled. Emma's blood work is unusual. Her white cell count is elevated, but not in a way consistent with infection. It's more like her immune system is hyperactive, fighting something that isn't there. Or rather, fighting the effects of her gift. Like Mommy," Emma said quietly. "The gift takes a toll. Every healing leaves a mark on the healer. Mommy knew the price, but paid it anyway. She said some prices are worth paying." Daniel's jaw clenched. "Not this price, not my daughter's life. There has to be another way." A knock at the door interrupted them. A woman entered, mid-40s, elegant despite red eyes from crying. She looked like an older, feminine version of Judge Mitchell. "Daddy?" she said hesitantly. Mitchell struggled to his feet from the visitor's chair, his legs shaking but holding. "Rebecca, you came?" "I saw the news," Rebecca said, tears flowing. "I saw you walking, I saw you crying, I saw you being human. The father I remembered from before Mom died." They embraced, 3 years of pain dissolving in a moment. Emma smiled weakly from her bed. "See? The future I saw is already happening." Over the next days, Emma grew stronger. The media attention intensified, with people calling her everything from a miracle worker to a fraud. Religious groups gathered outside, some calling her blessed, others claiming she was dangerous. Daniel hired security, moved them to a safe house, but Emma seemed unbothered by the chaos. "They're all just scared," she told Daniel one evening. "People fear what they don't understand, but I can't heal fear. People have to choose to let it go." On the 5th day, Prosecutor Whitman visited with his daughter Ashley. The girl was walking now, her latest treatment showing remarkable success. "I wanted to meet you," Ashley told Emma shyly. "My daddy says you helped him be brave enough to tell the truth." Emma smiled. "Your daddy was always brave. He just forgot for a little while because he loves you so much. Sometimes love makes us do wrong things for right reasons. Ashley pulled out a drawing, two girls holding hands under a rainbow. I made this for you, so you remember you have a friend. That night, Daniel found Emma sitting by the window, staring at the stars. Mommy loved stars, she said. She said each one was a wish someone made. Some wishes come true, some don't, but they all shine the same. What do you wish for? Daniel asked, sitting beside her. Emma leaned against him. I used to wish for a daddy. That one came true. Now I wish I could help people without getting sick. But Mommy said the gift doesn't work that way. It's about balance, what you give and what you take. Then we find a balance, Daniel said firmly. You don't have to heal everyone. You don't have to carry the world's pain. Emma looked up at him with two wise eyes. But what if the world needs someone to carry it? What if that's why I'm here? The question hung in the air, heavy with implications neither father nor daughter could fully grasp yet. 2 weeks passed in a blur of legal proceedings and media attention. Daniel's charges were formally dropped, with the real evidence against Carlisle's network leading to 17 arrests across Boston's political and business elite. The corruption ran deeper than anyone had imagined. Emma grew stronger, but remained under constant medical supervision. Her gift had become public knowledge, and the hospital received hundreds of requests daily from desperate families wanting her help. Daniel refused them all, protective of his daughter's health, but Emma had other ideas. Late one night, she slipped out of her room and found her way to the pediatric ward. Daniel discovered her there at dawn, surrounded by children. She was pale, exhausted, but smiling. Several children who'd been critical were showing improvement. I had to, she said simply when Daniel carried her back to her room. They were dying, Daddy. I could feel them calling out, how do I ignore that? Dr. Rodriguez was furious, but also amazed. 3 of those children had conditions we couldn't explain or treat. Now they're responding to conventional therapy. What she does, it's like she resets their bodies, gives them another chance to heal naturally. It's killing her, Daniel said bluntly. Every time she uses this gift, she gets weaker. Not weaker, Emma corrected. Different. Mommy explained it before she died. The gift changes you. You become less human and more. Something else. A bridge between what is and what could be. That afternoon brought an unexpected visitor. Vincent Carlisle, in prison uniform and shackles, escorted by federal marshals. Daniel almost refused to see him, but Emma insisted. He's different now, Carlisle said, looking at Emma with something approaching reverence. The anger is gone. For 20 years, I've been consumed by rage, and suddenly it's just gone. What did you do to me? I didn't do anything, Emma replied. You chose to let it go. I just showed you that you could. Carlisle pulled out a worn envelope. This is for you. Catherine, my wife. She left it with her nurse, for Sarah Walsh. But Sarah died before I could deliver it. I think she meant it for you. Emma opened the letter with trembling hands. In elegant script, Catherine Carlisle had written, Dear Sarah, you offered to heal me, but I chose to die. Not from despair, but from hope. Hope that my death might finally break the chains of hatred my husband wrapped around himself. You understood. You said sacrifice born of love is the most powerful medicine. Take care of your daughter. She will inherit more than your gift. She will inherit the weight of choice, who to save, who to let go. It's a terrible burden for a child. But sometimes children see clearest because they haven't learned to look away. Tell her that Catherine Carlisle chose her own ending. Tell her that some people need to fall completely before they can rise. My Vincent needed to lose everything to remember what matters. Your daughter was his catalyst. I saw it in a dream the night before I died. A small girl with green eyes standing in a courtroom, speaking truth to power. Thank her for me, for giving my death meaning. Emma folded the letter carefully. She knew, Mrs. Carlyle knew everything that would happen. Impossible, Daniel said, but his voice lacked conviction. After everything he'd witnessed, impossible had lost its meaning. That night, Judge Mitchell called with urgent news. Rebecca found something in my old medical files. The night of my accident, the responding paramedic was Dr. Morrison's assistant, the one Emma named. He injected me with something. The hospital has no record of it. Paralytic agent, Emma said, though she hadn't been part of the call. Temporary at first, but combined with psychological trauma and falsified medical records, it became permanent. Your body believed what your mind was told. Mitchell's voice was grim. We need to exhume Morrison's body. If he was murdered, he was, Emma interrupted, but not by Carlyle, by someone else. Someone who's still out there, watching, waiting. Daniel felt a chill. Who? Emma's face went pale. I don't know. When I try to see them, everything goes dark. It's like they're hidden behind something, protected. Mommy mentioned them once. She called them the shepherds, people who think they can decide humanity's future by controlling its present. Agent Rivers, who'd been listening, spoke up. We've heard whispers, a group above government, above law. If they're real, if they're involved, this is bigger than Boston, this is global. Emma nodded slowly. They're afraid of people like me and Mommy. We see through their lies. We can heal what they break. That's why Dr. Morrison had to die. He was going to expose them. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They'd exposed one conspiracy only to uncover something far more dangerous. Daniel pulled Emma close. They won't touch you. I'll make sure of it. But Emma looked at him with sad, knowing eyes. You can't protect me from what's coming, Daddy. None of us can. The shepherds have been planning for years. Mr. Carlyle was just a test. They wanted to see if they could control the justice system. They succeeded, until I interfered. The revelation about the shepherds changed everything. Within hours, Daniel had Emma relocated to a secure facility outside Boston, hired private military contractors for security, and began liquidating assets to fund their protection. But Emma seemed strangely calm about the danger. Running won't help, she told Daniel as they settled into the safe house. The shepherds aren't like Mr. Carlyle. They don't use violence. They use influence. They're doctors, teachers, leaders, people we trust. 3 days into hiding, Agent Rivers arrived with disturbing news. Doctor, Rodriguez is missing. Her car was found abandoned, no signs of struggle, and Daniel, her research on Emma is gone. All of it. Emma closed her eyes, concentrating. She's alive. They need her. They want to understand how the gift works. They think if they can replicate it, they can control it. Can they? Rivers asked. No, Emma said firmly. The gift chooses. It can't be forced or stolen. Mommy tried to explain it to scientists before. They never understood. It's not in the blood or brain. It's in the choice to suffer for others. That night, Emma woke screaming. Daniel rushed to her room to find her burning with fever, delirious. They're hurting her, she gasped. Dr. Rodriguez. They're testing her, trying to make her manifest the gift, but she can't. She doesn't have it. Where is she? Daniel demanded. Emma's eyes rolled back, her small body convulsing. Underground. Old subway tunnel. Abandoned station under government center. They've been there for decades, watching, waiting. Agent Rivers mobilized immediately. But when the tactical teams reached the location, they found it empty except for Dr. Rodriguez, unconscious but alive, and walls covered with photographs and files dating back 50 years. Every person with healing abilities, every unexplained medical recovery, every miracle, all documented, tracked, studied. Rodriguez woke in the hospital with fragmented memories. They kept asking about Emma, how her brain worked, how she knew things. They had technology I've never seen, brain scanners that seemed to read thoughts. They said humanity was at a crossroads, that people like Emma were either evolution or extinction. Emma, despite her father's protests, insisted on seeing Rodriguez. When they touched hands, Emma gasped. "They marked you. There's something in your blood now. A tracker. They're watching through you." Rivers immediately ordered comprehensive blood work, and they found it. Microscopic transmitters, technology beyond current medical understanding. The implications were terrifying. How many others had been marked? How long had the shepherds been watching? That evening, Judge Mitchell called with his own discovery. "I've been reviewing old cases. Patterns going back decades. Unexplained acquittals, mysterious evidence disappearances, witnesses changing testimony without reason. The shepherds have been manipulating the justice system for generations." Marcus Carlyle, now released on probation, provided another piece of the puzzle. "My grandfather mentioned them once. He was drunk, rambling about the men who really run the world. He said they weren't evil, just practical. They believed humanity needed guidance like sheep need shepherds." Emma listened to all of this with growing sadness. "They're not wrong about one thing. Humanity is at a crossroads. People like me and Mommy, we're becoming more common. Evolution or extinction, like Dr. Rodriguez said, the shepherds want to control which path we take." "And which path do you think we should take?" Daniel asked. Emma looked out the window at the stars. "Neither. Both. A third path. One where we choose together, not have it chosen for us. But that's the path the shepherds fear most. People making their own choices, even if they're wrong ones." The next morning brought a package to the safe house. No postmark, no delivery record. Inside was a single photograph. Sarah Walsh, holding infant Emma, surrounded by men and women in white coats. On the back, elegant handwriting. "We've been watching since before she was born." The gift was never random. Sunday noon, Boston Common, come alone or everyone suffers. Daniel's hands shook with rage. They knew, all along, they knew about Emma. Emma touched the photograph, her face going pale. "Mommy knew too. She was hiding me from them. That's why she never told you about me, Daddy. She thought distance would keep me safe." "I'm not letting you go to that meeting," Daniel said firmly. But Emma shook her head. "It's not me they want to meet, it's you. They want to offer you something, a choice. Join them or lose everything." "How do you know that?" "Because," Emma said quietly, "one of them is someone you know. Someone you trust. Someone who's been guiding your life without you knowing. The meeting isn't a threat, it's a recruitment." The room went cold as the implications sank in. The shepherds weren't distant enemies. They were friends, colleagues, mentors. They were everywhere. Daniel looked at his daughter, this impossible child who saw truth where others saw lies. "Then we go together. Whatever they want, we face it together." Emma smiled sadly. "That's what they're counting on. Your love for me is their leverage. But, Daddy, some battles can't be won with love. Some require sacrifice." "No," Daniel said firmly. "No more sacrifice. Your mother sacrificed enough. You've sacrificed enough. If the shepherds want a war, they'll get one." Sunday arrived grey and cold. Despite Daniel's insistence on protection, Emma convinced him they needed to go alone. "The shepherds don't make empty threats," she said. "If we bring help, people will die. Good people." Boston Common was nearly empty, the late autumn chill keeping most people indoors. At noon exactly, a familiar figure approached the designated bench. Daniel's blood froze. Richard Blackwood, his mentor, the man who'd guided his career for 15 years, walked toward them with a sad smile. "Hello, Daniel, Emma." Richard sat down carefully, his expensive coat pristine despite the weathered bench. "I imagine you have questions." "You're a shepherd," Daniel said, his voice hollow. "You've been controlling my life." "Guiding," Richard corrected. "There's a difference. Every choice was yours, Daniel. We simply arranged the options." Emma studied Richard with those penetrating eyes. "You killed my mother." Richard's composure cracked slightly. Sarah's death was unfortunate but necessary. She refused to join us. Her gift, uncontrolled, was dangerous. She was healing people who were meant to die, changing destinies that needed to remain fixed. Meant to die? Daniel's rage was barely contained. Who decides that? We do, Richard said simply. For 300 years, the shepherds have prevented 13 wars, stopped 4 pandemics, and guided humanity through every major crisis. We're not monsters, Daniel. We're gardeners, pruning humanity's tree so it grows strong. Emma shook her head. You're afraid of losing control. People like Mommy and me, we prove that destiny isn't fixed, that miracles aren't managed. That's why you really killed her. Richard pulled out a tablet, showing medical scans. Your daughter's brain is evolving, Daniel. In 3 generations, people like her will be common. Humanity will change fundamentally. The shepherds want to ensure that change is controlled, beneficial. Join us. Help us guide this transition. And if I refuse? Then Emma comes with us anyway, Richard said coldly. She's too dangerous to remain free. Her gift is already attracting others like her. They're drawn to her like moths to flame. In 6 months, she'll be leading a movement she doesn't even understand. Emma stood up suddenly. You're wrong about something, Mr. Blackwood. Mommy didn't refuse to join you. She pretended to refuse. She was gathering evidence, documenting everything. She hid it where you'd never think to look. Richard's face went pale. That's impossible. We searched everything. You searched the physical world, Emma said, but Mommy hid it in the only place you couldn't reach. In the memories of the children she healed. Each one carries a piece of the puzzle. When they remember her, they remember what she knew. Across the common, people began gathering. Not random pedestrians, but specific individuals. Daniel recognized some from the hospital, children Emma had helped, families Sarah had touched. They formed a circle, watching. Mommy called it the network, Emma continued. People connected by healing, by truth. You can't control them because they've been touched by something beyond your understanding. Love without condition. Sacrifice without reward. Richard stood, his hand moving to his pocket. This is unacceptable. The shepherds are finished. Judge Mitchell's voice rang out. He walked toward them, no longer needing his walker, followed by Agent Rivers and federal agents. We have everything. Sarah Walsh's testimony, hidden in the recovered memories of 17 children. Names, dates, crimes spanning decades. Richard laughed bitterly. You can't arrest us. We are the system. Judges, senators, presidents, all answer to us. Not anymore, Rivers said, holding up her phone. This conversation is being broadcast live. Every major news outlet, social media platform, streaming service. The world is watching, Richard. Around them, hundreds of phones were raised, recording everything. The families Sarah had helped, the children Emma had healed, all bearing witness. Richard's composed mask finally shattered completely. You don't understand what you've done. Without the shepherds, humanity will tear itself apart. We were the only thing standing between civilization and chaos. Emma approached him, her small hand extended. No, you were the wall between humanity and its potential. People are capable of more than you believed. They can choose goodness without being forced. They can heal without being controlled. She touched Richard's hand, and he gasped. For a moment he saw what she saw, humanity's potential for both darkness and light, the beauty of free choice, the power of unmanaged miracles. Tears streamed down his face. Sarah knew, he whispered. She knew this day would come. She saw it when she was dying, a little girl bringing down an empire with nothing but truth. Emma nodded. She also saw your future, Mr. Blackwood. You have a choice. Help us dismantle the shepherds peacefully or watch them fall violently. Either way, they end today. Richard looked around at the gathering crowd, at the federal agents, at the cameras recording everything. 3 centuries of control, ending because a 7-year-old girl refused to be controlled. "I'll cooperate," he said quietly. "God help us all, but I'll cooperate." 6 months later, the world had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The exposure of the shepherds sent shockwaves through every government, every institution. Hundreds of powerful figures resigned, were arrested, or simply disappeared. But Emma had been right. Humanity didn't descend into chaos. Instead, something remarkable happened. People began to choose differently. The trials were extensive, with Judge Mitchell presiding over many of them. His experience being manipulated by the shepherds made him the perfect arbiter. Richard Blackwood's testimony proved invaluable, exposing centuries of manipulation. But the real victory wasn't in the courtrooms. It was in the quiet miracles that began happening everywhere. Children with gifts like Emma's emerged from hiding. Families who'd been told to keep silent about unexplained healings came forward. The network Sarah had envisioned became reality. Emma, despite her fame, remained focused on individual healing, but Daniel noticed the toll it was taking. Each healing left her a little paler, a little thinner. Dr. Rodriguez, now free from the shepherd's influence, monitored her constantly. "Her cellular structure is changing," Rodriguez explained to Daniel one evening. "It's not deterioration exactly. It's more like transformation. She's becoming something new." Emma, listening from her bedroom doorway, smiled. "Mommy went through the same thing. She said it wasn't dying, it was graduating, moving from one form of existence to another." "I don't accept that," Daniel said firmly. "There has to be a way to preserve your gift without losing you." That night, Emma had a visitor in her dreams. Sarah stood in a garden of light, looking healthy and whole. "My brave girl," Sarah said, embracing her daughter. "You did it. You brought down their empire of fear." "I miss you, Mommy," Emma whispered. "I know, baby. But I'm not gone. I'm just different. And soon you'll understand. The gift changes us because we become the gift. We stop being individual healers and become part of healing itself." "Daddy won't understand," Emma said. "He will. When the time comes, he will. You've taught him that love transcends form. He knows that now." Emma woke to find Daniel sitting beside her bed, tears on his face. "You were glowing," he said softly. "In your sleep you were actually glowing." "The change is accelerating," Emma admitted. "But Daddy, it's not sad. I'm not dying. I'm becoming what Mommy became, a guardian, a guide, a light for others to follow." Marcus Carlyle visited that morning, bringing news. "My father died last night, peacefully. He wanted me to tell you, Emma, that your healing worked. He died free of hate, remembering love. He said to thank you." Emma nodded, unsurprised. "He chose his moment. Sometimes that's the greatest gift, choosing how our story ends." Vincent had left his entire estate to establish the Sarah Walsh Foundation, dedicated to protecting and training gifted children. Judge Mitchell would oversee it, with Daniel as chairman. Marcus would run the day-to-day operations. "Your mother's dream," Daniel told Emma, "a safe place for children like you." Over the following weeks, Emma grew increasingly translucent, not invisible, but somehow less solid, as if she existed partially in another realm. Yet she seemed happier than ever, more at peace. The night before everything changed, Emma gathered everyone who'd been part of their journey: Judge Mitchell and Rebecca, Marcus, Agent Rivers, Prosecutor Whitman and his daughter Ashley, Dr. Rodriguez, even some of the former shepherds who genuinely reformed. "I need you all to understand," Emma said, her voice carrying despite its softness. "What happens tomorrow isn't an ending. It's a beginning. The gift Mommy gave me, I'm passing on. Not to one person, but to all of you. Each of you will carry a piece of it. the ability to see truth, to heal hearts, if not bodies, to choose love over fear. She touched each person, and they felt it, a warmth, a knowing, a connection to something greater. Ashley Whitman gasped, "I can feel it. I can feel everyone's light." "That's the real gift," Emma explained, "not healing bodies, but connecting souls. The shepherds tried to control humanity by keeping us separate, afraid. But connected, aware of our shared light, we're unstoppable." That night, Daniel held his daughter as she grew lighter in his arms. "I'm not losing you," he said firmly. "You promised." Emma smiled, her form shimmering. "And I keep my promises, Daddy. Every time you help someone, I'll be there. Every time you choose love over fear, you'll feel me. Every time someone remembers that miracles are possible, I'll exist." As dawn broke, Emma's physical form dissolved into pure light. But instead of disappearing, the light spread, touching everyone who'd ever been healed by her or Sarah. Across the world, people woke with a new awareness, a connection to each other that transcended physical space. Daniel stood in Emma's empty room, tears streaming down his face. But on her pillow was a note in her careful handwriting. "Daddy, look for me in every act of kindness, every moment of courage, every choice to heal rather than hurt. I'm not gone, I'm everywhere. Love exists, that's all you need to know. Your daughter forever, Emma." Judge Mitchell found Daniel there an hour later. "She's really gone?" Daniel shook his head. "No, she kept her promise. She's still here, different but here, can't you feel it?" And Mitchell could. They all could. Emma's gift hadn't ended with her transformation. It had multiplied, spreading through everyone she'd touched. The shepherds had tried to control humanity's evolution, but Emma and Sarah had chosen a different path. Not control, but connection. Not management, but miracles. Not fear, but love. The world would never be the same.